Are we rolling? Hey, everybody.
Take 4.
It's Ron Bass with another edition of the Ron Bass Show.
You've already
Your
started.
source for inspiration, encouragement, motivation. A lot of dry humor. This guy over here, he's always trying to one-up me on dry humor. Brent Atterbury, executive producer, marketing guru, son of a very famous professional.
I thought you were going to call me a bad word.
Well, I wouldn't do that on the camera. Wait till after camera. Okay. Any rate, man, it's been a kind of a cold spell here in the United States.
Little chilly.
A little chilly. And crackers.
And crackers. I wish I had some right now.
I wish I did too. I haven't eaten any lunch yet. I just came from the gym. You know what that means?
That means you're sweaty.
I'm high on endorphins.
You're sweaty and you need to put deodorant on.
That's it. But you know what? I found if I shower every day, I don't necessarily have to use deodorant. I don't think I have that problem where I have like odor sweat. My sweat's like doesn't smell.
Do you have?
That's weird, isn't it?
Do people try to avoid you? And
you know, I've been noticing that lately. Maybe I should reconsider this. You know what I do when I do buy deodorant, though? I always buy the Old Spice. It's like the old school deodorant.
Yeah.
And I'll go in the store and I'll look on the shelf, and it's like it's at the very, 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 very bottom because it's like the cheapest one.
Yeah.
And then there's all these other ones that are like 5 times as much money. I'm thinking, man, what's the difference? It's just, you know, hide the BO, right?
Yeah.
I asked you one day, what does BO stand for? And you looked at me like, are you stupid? It's bad, or it's a bad odor. Body odor. Yeah, body odor. That's funny. Well, something like that anyway. Boy, I'm getting today. I don't know what's going on here.
Okay. It's a new year.
It's a new year. That's what it is.
You're turning over a new leaf.
Turning over a new leaf. What does that mean, by the way? A new leaf?
I don't know.
I can see a new page, maybe, like in a journal or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
What does a new leaf mean?
I don't know what leaves have to do with it.
Maybe it's like a leaf on a table. You know, like the extra piece in the middle.
So you turn over
but that doesn't make sense either, does it?
Yeah,
no. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
All right.
No.
Well, today's going to be a little bit of humor, a little bit of seriousness.
Uh-oh.
But, you know, you have to have a little bit of both because life is that way, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We've got good times, we've got bad times, we got ups, we got downs, all arounds. I was talking to some of our students last night about, you know, man, life is just always going to be a challenge. You could be the most successful, richest, popular person in the world, but that does not mean you're not going to have challenges. All day long, you're going to have stuff coming your way that's going to be difficult, and you're going to have to figure out how to manage those things. I know I preach about it all the time, but it's just the way it is, guys. Speaking of that, this story really kind of broke my heart to hear about it, but I've been studying this guy that drove up to the Las Vegas Trump Hotel and detonated the bomb and killed himself. This happened, just about a week ago, I guess.
Yes.
And there's a lot of backstories to this, what happened. And I've been studying this whole event, and I saw where he had sent an email to somebody. And in that email, it really, really hit me hard, but there were a couple of sentences that really stood out to me. One of the sentences, and I'm going to paraphrase it, was that he was having a really hard time dealing with the fact that he had lost a lot of his fellow soldiers. I suspect he was a Green Beret, so he was a very well-decorated soldier. So I suspect in some sort of combat scenario, he had lost a lot of his friends, right? And he was really having a hard time accepting that, coming to square with that. And then the other comment that he made, which really even hit me harder than that, was he could not square away the burden that he has with the lives that he has taken as a soldier. I suspected combat, either that he had to kill people, right? And our coach, Cody Lemons, here in our dojo in Missouri at our martial arts school, is a Marine. And we talked about this last night, and I said, you know, it's got to, and he knew a lot of these special forces guys, like this Green Beret, and he said that a lot of them kind of carried that around with them. But unfortunately, in this case, this guy he just couldn't deal with it anymore. And, you know, suicide, we talk about it a lot of times, is a way out to deal with that much mental pain. Because if you have that kind of pain that you don't want to live anymore, That's like about the most pain you could have, right? I just found it really sad, and I wanted to kind of touch base on that and bring that back to center, that because I know a lot of people are watching. We get comments from a lot of our subscribers. They talk about being very unhappy, very, very depressed. Even though their life's going well, they still have this heartache. And I think you just have to hit mental health head on. If you're struggling and things aren't going well, there's some basic things you can do, of course, like exercise. I know in my case, years ago I suffered from a lot of anxiety, and man, going to the gym really keeps my head sort of screwed on. It just does, guys. I don't know exactly why or how that works, but it makes a big difference. If it's more severe than that, and your depression is something that exercise can't handle, maybe you got to consider going to a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a counselor. There's a lot of antidepressant medications, and I've heard both sides of the fence. Yes, it helps. No, it doesn't. Yes, it helps, but it gives me side effects I don't like. Okay, well, anything is better than taking your life, in my opinion. If you can get the help, take the help. Don't kick the can down the road, right? A lot of people like to mask the pain. How do they do that? Drugs and alcohol, gambling, pornography. It's not going to solve the problem. And I'm only speaking from my own personal experience, because when I was 17, 18, 19, I struggled a lot with anxiety and a lot of depression. I had to go to doctors. I had to get medication. Eventually, I was able to wean off of that, and exercise became my drug of choice, and a lot of counseling. And I think some people are just going to be born with these problems. And in my case, I think that's what happened. I think I was born with those problems. My brother was schizophrenic, so it's probably a gene problem in my up and down the line in my family. He didn't make it. He died at 49. Drug addiction and the schizophrenia, bad combination, and it just took his life. So I'm not trying to be negative or be a Debbie Downer today, but I want to talk about this because I know a lot of people don't want to talk about it. They don't want to lay it on the table. They want to act like everything's fine, and it's not always going to be like that, guys. So if you've got friends and they're struggling, and you just have an inkling that maybe that's the case, you need to talk to them. Sit them down one-on-one and visit with them and see if you can get it out, and then kind of go from there. Okay, that's the Green Beret story. On a kind of a similar note, the guy in New Orleans that rammed his truck into the crowd and killed a bunch of people and maimed a bunch of people. This guy was a pretty straight, in his early life, was a pretty straight shooter. But what happened was, back to what I've always said about hanging out with the right people. You have to be around the right kind of people. He got influenced by some really bad people, and they convinced him and manipulated him to believe that, he needed to do this. It was the ISIS crowd, I suspect, where they hate a lot of things, right? They hate a lot of people. But he got radicalized, and I think it's not that hard to happen if you get around the wrong kind of people that are very good at manipulating, that are, that kind of a personality. You got to get away, man. You can't hang out with those kind of people because it'll ruin your life. And in this case, it ruined his life and a whole bunch of other lives. So, like I always say, you have to spend time with people that you most want to become like. Hang out with people like Brent. Likes to tell jokes all the time, that likes to be silly. Hang out with people that are funny. Hang out with people that are ambitious. Hang out with people that are motivated, that want to go places in their life. Hang out with people that are athletic. When I joined martial arts 10 years ago, I wasn't an athlete at all. But hanging around with athletic people has helped me a lot to become a little bit more athletic and learn some self-defense skills and learn a sport. If you would have told me that 10 years ago, I'd say you're crazy. Maybe I'm crazy.
Well, we know that.
We know that. Is there a test for that?
Maybe. We don't need a test.
Bart Schroeder. You cannot beat Bart Schroeder.
That's right. You can't.
No. Maybe they could be a sponsor for us.
I don't know. Where's your coffee at?
Here's my coffee.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't sure if you were in the mood for coffee or root beer today, so.
A little bit of both, but
yeah.
I had my coffee this morning. gets me going, and then I go to the gym, and then after the gym, rigor is kind of like my reward.
Very good.
Probably not very smart because sugar really isn't probably all that good for you, right?
No.
I've been reading all kinds of reports about that, like it really screws up your brain, it screws up your system, and this and that. But you know what? I can think of worse things.
Yeah.
By the way, I did read another article about that I talk about it, how every time you smoke a cigarette, it takes 20 minutes off your life.
You talked about that last week.
Yeah. It shows you how when you get old you can't remember anything. Oh well. There are some things though that do help dementia and that sort of thing, and one thing is exercise, of course. Keeps the brain more in tune. It just does. I know people probably get tired of me talking about that all the time, but all right. Speaking of mental and physical health, we talked the other day about the problem with working out is that when you're young, you don't think you need to because you're so fit, right? You just don't. You go all night, go all day, and you just don't notice it, right? Never get tired. My friend Cody, our jiu-jitsu coach, he said when he was in the Marine Corps at 18, 19, 20 years old, he never got tired. And he was doing like crazy stuff. Like he'd get into a pool and these are special forces guys, and they would tread water for like 24 hours. How do you do that? I can't even tread water for probably 2 or 3 minutes. They would run with their backpack 5 and 10 miles, 15, 20 miles. And he said he never got tired. So when you're young, you don't feel the need. When you're old, you don't have the energy. So you're trapped either way. But you know what? You have to not pay attention to that. You have to get out there. You have to go to the gym, get on a bike. One of my students I just saw a few minutes ago, he was riding his bike. And it's 10 degrees here in Missouri, but he was out there riding his bike. And he just came from the gym. Kid's probably 20 years old, but he figured it out. He's ambitious enough and smart enough to recognize you've got to work out. But when you get older, I've got a lot of friends at the gym that are in their 50s, 60s, maybe even in their 70s. And they're still working out, man. And they look great and they feel great and they've got energy. You don't have to give up because you're old. Of course, I found out the other day that all my listeners are like 140s. So there's nobody out there that's old. I guess I'm the only one in the mix.
You are.
You're right behind me.
You can tell stories, and they'll learn from the Yoda.
That's funny. Okay, going down the list. Got a long list.
Wow.
Yeah. I think. And we talk about this all the time, that we tend to go down these roads that are comfortable and convenient. Like whatever feels good, we chase. I'm at the gym today and I'm thinking, man, there's this really pretty girls and they're working out. And I'm thinking, that's the problem. You get distracted and you don't want to focus on personal development. You don't want to focus on setting goals and being fit. You want to chase women. Women want to chase the men. And you go down that road and then everything else becomes less important, but you can't do that. You have to put everything in perspective and compartmentalize your life. You have to work out. You have to have time for social. Yes. You have to have time to rest. You have to have time to run your business or to work your job. And by the way, I just reset my goals because at the end of every year, I take the back of my business card, and if I haven't accomplished those goals, I reset them for one more year. I got close. They say closest only counts in cigars and hand grenades. Maybe it's mortars and hand grenades. No, grenades. Yeah.
So if she had body odor, would you be as distracted?
There's some people that really have a fetish for that.
Oh, that like it?
Yeah. Isn't that weird? What is the pheromones they call it? I think it's supposed to be like a...
I know dogs go around and sniff each other.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
That is weird.
No, I think there's some people that different body odors attract different people. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's too much information.
Too much
information. So we eat too much. I've got a friend that's 150 pounds overweight. He's been telling me for a year he's going to lose the weight. He's trying, but you can't have that kind of weight and you're going to die. And I told him that the other night. I said, you're going to die, man. He's already got diabetes. He's already got high blood pressure. You can't do that. You have to go in and get a surgery and you got to get the weight off. take Ozempic, do something. Go to the gym, do all three things. You're going to die. And you're not going to be, and it's not that you're going to die, you're going to be sick for a long time before you die. Even worse than dying.
I think what that really means is you're going to die before your time,
Yes.
before you would have to die.
You should be able to at least live to be in your 70s.
Well, I mean,
And
yeah,
he's only late 40s.
Don't accelerate it. Is what
Right.
you're saying. Don't accelerate it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, smoking is probably the worst. Overweight is probably right there with it. Doing drugs is just a deep hole. The only people that come out ahead on drugs are the dealers. Now it's the states. That's the government. That's so hypocritical. They're supposed to be protecting us, and they're selling drugs. That's crazy to me. And I'm not trying to be like a old fogey about it. If you're going to drink and smoke and do things like that, do it occasionally. Don't do it every day. Right? And if you're doing it every day, you need to face the fiddle. You need to find out what it is that's bothering you that much. But you have to stay high. You have to mask the pain, because it's just kicking the can down the road.
My personal physician told me, do everything in moderation. It's when you do things above moderation and excess, that's when bad things happen.
Speaking of personal, now they said that we're all going to have our own AI assistant. And personal assistant, and that AI is going to know everything about us. Yeah, it's going to be like in a way, it's going to, they say, probably replace our parents as kids come up, because it's going to be the person or the thing you go to for advice. And
can you choose between a male and a female?
That's a good question.
Oh.
I don't know.
Yeah.
These AIs are getting, I saw the other day, there's an AI app that'll make a twin for you.
Wow.
Yeah. So now you can go around looking at yourself and watching yourself and manipulating yourself. It's crazy, isn't it? It's getting pretty bizarre.
It's dumb.
It's a little dumb. Okay, well, we're wearing that subject out. But look, the more we go down these roads, guys, the harder it's going to be to get back to the right. You may have never been on the right track. I don't know. I can tell you that I spent a lot of years being on the wrong track, so I can speak from my own experience. And getting back and getting on the right track is very difficult, particularly when you're doing all these things that aren't good for you, right? And if you're doing bad things right now, man, you got to really think about it. Getting rid of these bad habits. I don't care what it takes, you got to do that. Or you're never going to be the person that you could become. I promise you. I've had to go through a lot of crazy experiences to get to the point where I even felt like I was at par. I often talk about the three things that I think about every day in my life. I'm surviving, I'm at par, or I'm advancing. And I use that as a barometer in my life, whether it's business or personal, fitness. Where am I at today? Am I surviving? Am I at par, or am I advancing? Obviously, we all want to be advancing, right? Improving, advancing, moving forward. And you got to write that down. I did this a long time ago, and I use this barometer every day. So are you surviving? Are you at par? Or are you advancing? And you're going to find, if you use that tool, it's pretty interesting how to keep you kind of moving in the right direction every day. You got to be honest with yourself. You look in the mirror, you got to be honest.
If you lie to yourself, or you let AI decide, your AI assistant.
Yes.
Can't do that.
Can't do that. All right. Well, at any rate, probably bored everybody enough. How about some breaking news?
Oh gosh. Well, I always try to find funny, unique, bizarre, crazy news, but I ran across something that I thought you personally would find interesting.
Cool.
There's a Montana man that broke a Guinness World Record. He used 132-pound kettlebells
132 pounds
at his local gym and completed 38 swings in 60 seconds to attempt the world record for the most weight lifted by a kettlebell swing in 1 minute. It was 5,148 pounds.
I got to think about this. 132 pounds. Let's see, the most I've ever swung was 75 pounds, and I would do sets of 10. This guy did almost double that, and he did how many swings?
38 swings in 60 seconds.
That's like one swing. That's like constantly swinging.
Yep, they have a video of him doing it. Actually, right here.
I don't even think I could lift 132
He looks
pounds
very
like
scary.
That is cool.
That is cool. I thought you'd like it.
It's a very
Thought you'd
cool
like it.
story.
And
Yeah.
then here's another thing I thought you'd like.
Yeah.
Today, on a serious note, tying in with the podcast,
Yeah.
is I am a mentor day.
I am a mentor.
And the quote is, a mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope inside yourself. Oprah Winfrey.
Oh.
That's a quote from her on I am a mentor day.
I am a mentor.
And then for those of you that
By the way, she's become very controversial lately.
yes,
You know why?
no,
Because of all the stuff going on with the presidential race. And
yeah,
they said they paid her $1 million to show up on one of the events, and
Yeah.
she took a lot of flack for that. But she's a great success story, by the way. She came up through the ranks. They fired her 2 or 3 times, different television stations, and you'll never make it, blah blah blah. And you go on their face. She's a gazillionaire now, and helped a lot more people than she's hurt.
and for those that want
She had
to,
a big weight problem. Got
Yeah.
rid of it, gained it back, got rid of it, gained it back, got rid of it. I think she's doing good now.
well, and for those that want senseless news that makes them laugh, today is National Pass Gas Day.
Oh my God.
Just thought I'd show that.
We go through that quite a bit when we're rolling here in the gym at nights.
So thought
It's,
you'd like that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, any last closing thoughts or any words of wisdom from the man over here?
No, I think you kind of circle back to what you were talking about in the beginning. I mean, if depression and or mental illness can block you and hold you back from trying to get where you're wanting to go, hitting your goals, being a better version of yourself.
Yeah.
So find the medicine not being literal, find a way to make it better,
Yes.
whether it's through counseling or professional help or through a doctor, but find that formula that fixes that so you can move forward and advance and not be par or
Surviving.
surviving. Got it.
Although surviving is something about surviving that's I don't know how to explain it, but there's something about surviving that it's like hanging on, for dear life. And if you can make it and get through that, it's very empowering. I'm not saying I suggest that, but it's
Yeah.
very, very empowering.
Some people are stuck in that mode though.
Yeah, all the
and
time.
they don't even get the par.
Right, they don't get the par. Even getting the par is a great thing.
Part of them is surviving.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Not good. By the way, there's a renowned author that said the other day, she's a personal development author, something along the lines that you shouldn't set goals. That something like that, like it's not like at the end of the year you shouldn't set resolutions. And I thought, I just do not agree with that at all. And she's like a big bookseller, like a big successful author. I didn't recognize her name, but I don't get it. I don't like that. To my opinion, you should set goals.
Well, I think that's for the people that have a long list and they've written 20 or 30 or 40.
Maybe.
And I think you've got to put down realistic resolutions / goals, and you've got to put a plan together to hit those, and take it serious.
Take it serious.
And don't just say it.
There's 2 goals
Do it.
that you should set. One should be a personal goal. We talked about that. And one should be a financial goal. Just keep it simple, guys. Nothing complicated. Just keep it simple. The KISS principle. Keep it simple, silly, right? KISS.
I think it's keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
But silly could be
Silly,
a new
stupid.
one. It's maybe your version,
Yeah.
but that's okay.
Okay. All right. Well, guys, I guess we'll close this thing out. So just remember, if you don't give up, eventually those stars are going to line up. And when they do, it's not the end. It's just another piece of the puzzle. Because then you're going to reset your goals, and you're going to reset those goals, and you're going to keep setting goals and keep setting goals. And if you don't reach those goals, like I said, reset those goals for another year. Date it and sign it on the back of a business card. So it's like a legal binding document to yourself. And take it serious, man. 2 laws of psychology. You become what you think about. You become who you surround yourself with. Boy, am I in trouble. And you have to realize those goals become reality, because when you think about them every day, because you put them in your billfold, every time you touch your billfold, you're going to recite the goals. You become what you think about. They have to become reality. Maybe not within that year. Set it another year. It doesn't matter. The idea is that you're on that track. So up until that time and even after that time, just remember, keep your chin up and stay positive.